And it was a hit show for the Sci-Fi Channel, but now the series Farscape is fighting for its life. After 4 years, this seminal sci-fi drama was canceled, but fans of the show aren't taking this news lying down. They have mounted a big email campaign to save the show, and here to talk about the show and this grassroots movement to save it is one of the show's stars. Joining me now, all the way from Australia, is Ben Browder. Ben, thanks so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Good morning from Australia. It's 9:20, the sun is shining, it's the end of winter, and it's tomorrow.
All right. Well, thanks so much for joining us. And my understanding is that you and the cast and the crew, if we can go back to this, you were on the set, you were getting ready for, I guess, the 5th season, and then you were, within 2 weeks, you were told that the show was going to be canceled. Is that how it happened?
That's pretty close to the timeline. We had actually finished shooting our final episode of season 4. We were doing pickup shots from an earlier episode. The night before, I'd been talking with Brian Henson and David Kemper, our executive producers, and they were fairly sure we were going ahead and everyone was planning for a 5th season. And we were on the set, we got news, and a lot of people broke down in tears.
Wow, it must have felt like the rug was kind of pulled out from under you there.
Alicia, I got a lot of music in my ear, so you're going to have to speak up.
I will. All right. Well, here, I was wondering, there is now a big campaign to save the show. Tell us about that, and do you think fans and the internet can save this show?
Well, the interesting thing about this situation is that basically the two parties, USA Networks and the Henson Company, as producers, had decided it was a split. After the fan response, they got back together and started talking again. It gave us an extra week before we had to start chopping up the sets for them to try to figure out a way around it. At this point, it looks like it's not going to happen, so we're not going to see a 5th season.
Wow. Now, I know that you've participated in chats about the show. I mean, what was the best thing that you heard from fans in those chats?
Well, the interaction with the fans started almost from the inception of the show, from the period where we were just airing on Sci-Fi. Very early on, the only interaction we had was on the internet, so if we wanted a fan response, we wanted to know what they thought about the show, we had to get on the internet and find out. So we had chats at the end of every year that were sponsored by Sci-Fi, and we would gauge how our audience was responding by what we were reading and seeing on the internet. So they were actually critical in the creative process of the show as well. As an actor, you stand between the words and the audience, and on television, at least from Australia, the only way to gauge that is to get on the internet and find out what works and what doesn't work. It's been fascinating watching the internet work for us.
Yeah, it really has, and you have so many fans who really love the show. Ben, I want to thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me, and good day from Australia.
That is Ben Browder from Farscape.